Well, I think you just saw how Vern really exemplifies our entire mission statement as a nonprofit, celebrating history, art, and culture. He puts meticulous research into every piece he does, and that was pretty well revealed in Marcy's interview with him. He just doesn't show up and start painting. He puts a lot of thought into it, a lot of research. He goes back to original source material. He finds out what every thread, what every sinnow, quill work, you name it. He knows the difference between Hidaza and Mandan, between Lakota, Nakota, Dakota. But it all comes through in his art, and we're just thrilled to have Vern in our stable of artists. Other than being just a wonderful human being, he is the epitome of history, art, and culture.
And Cherie Rashow is the artist that we are introducing as a new artist that we represent here at the Capitol Gallery. She's from Dickinson, and she loves everything Western North Dakota.
And again, in her own way, expresses that in a different way than Vern does, and in a different way than the rest of the artists you'll meet will. And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
Each one is uniquely their own.
So here's Cherie.
Hi, I'm Cherie Rashow. I'm an artist, and I taught art for 40-some years now. I'm a full-time artist. I have been painting most of my life, but I've really geared it up in the last COVID months. What I like to paint, or what I like to focus on mostly, has to do with Western North Dakota. I love the people, I love the culture, and I love the animals, I love nature. Nothing better than putting sagebrush in one of your paintings. I just love it. The first painting that I'd probably talk about would be Dakota Thunder, which is painting of bison in the rut. In fact, that is a study done off of about 3 of my photos. I really enjoy watching bison, whether they're in rut, whether they're moving as a herd, or just sit and listen to them. I love the bison, so I wanted to make a tribute to them, and I continue to tribute them. I love doing rodeo, and doing the layers of the leather, and doing the layers underneath the saddle and the buckles, and making them in perspective. That's always a little bit of a challenge, but I also love doing it. It takes an awful lot for me to pull away from super realism, and but I really want to do it, so that's why I did this. I wanted this to be the focus, and just kind of let the edges take you into it. So this is Isaac Diaz, and this is actually the first ride he made on this horse, on any horse, after he had a serious injury. So, and he did well at that, and that was at the Sentinel Butte Rodeo. That piece right there, that was probably my first paint I ever did. I started with him because I was so excited to do him. There's a strawberry roan up there on top, and I was kind of interested in her too, but I really wanted to really go after that texture in the paint part, and I learned a lot just doing it. You know, I wanted the bone structure to come out, and of course the nuzzles on these horses are just, I just love doing the noses too. I want to do a series of wild horses from Theodore Roosevelt Park, and I started out with my very first one, and one of the most probably more prominent and well-known stallions is Circus. He's a paint horse with a blue eye, and this particular piece is called Circus After the Rain, and it had just rained, and so his mane is quite stringy and wet, but his eye just pops out there. He's just got this, and I'm always intrigued by his eye, and of course that was the first to be painted. I live south of Dickinson on a little farm. We don't have too many animals, but we used to have cattle and draft horses and riding horses and chickens and, you know, all kinds of animals, but not so much anymore. So I have to borrow other people's animals. I did create a series called the EIEIO series, and I decided to do farm animals because I absolutely love the little Ronald McDonald farms that have all these different kinds of animals. And I started out with a rooster, and I named him after my grandson, and he wanted to know why I was naming it. Then he found I was naming all of them, but it's the name of the piece is Xander, the rooster with an attitude. And you can really take a close look, and you look at that eye, and that eye is like he's going to come after you any minute, you know. And then, of course, I had to do his sister as a little red hen, so. And then I continued selecting animals, and it's just been fun, just a lot of fun. I grew up south of Weevil, Montana. That's just over the border. And I grew up in actually a little Polish community. I grew up in a family of 10 kids. And my mother painted, and I used to watch her, and she probably was one of the first people to really encourage me to pursue it and to work with it. I just remember her having the courage to sit up and paint with 10 little ones running around, and you know, there were times when some of them took the paintbrush and dabbled on a painting, and she did a 8 foot by 4 foot painting for Dr. Bush and Beach, and that was his version of Custer's Last Stand. And that was one where my little brother Billy helped paint. I just think art is a very important form of communication. We're able to speak with our brushes just as well as our words. Through the world of art, no matter who you are or what you do, you could be one of my little first graders or my kindergarten kids who just love painting, and they're expressing themselves and they're so excited. And I just hope that adults out there, I want you to emulate those little kindergarten kids and try it and do it. You know, I just think it's important. I just think Western North Dakota is such a beautiful place to live, to raise kids, to come out and visit. One of my favorite places to go out and sit is out in Theodore Roosevelt National Park, and I just love just parking my car off in one of those turnoffs and just listening and watching, observing. And I just think that is so wholesome and so spiritual, in fact. You know, Teddy Roosevelt talked about the spirit of the Badlands all the time, and I truly believe that that's where we find in nature, but we shouldn't just stop there, because we as human beings who during this COVID event have recognized how much we really need each other. If it's taught us one thing, it's taught us about community, and it's taught us about the importance of communication, the importance of being together. And sometimes we can't. And we long for that, and that's what art should do, is help us long for those things.